Okay, so context. We have been writing a couple of articles lately on one of the major foundational pillars of Galactica Network, which is our reputation systems. So for anyone who's not aware, Galactica is not just a blockchain. It is a blockchain. You can use it like a normal pseudonymous blockchain. It just also has these incredible extra layers. So we have reputation, we have identity, we have your privacy. So all of these things working together allow you to be a free individual on a decentralized piece of human infrastructure, which is what we've just been talking about. Awesome. What we've been doing lately is writing these articles. So these ones are on reputation. This is going to be one of the first. I'm not entirely sure exactly what order we're doing these things, but we've got reputation and we have proto-governance, which are two things which are going to be coming up on our testnet, which is going to be probably like it will be in like the months kind of timescale. But we need to make sure that our validation and all that stuff that we've released on the testnet so far is nice and stable before we release them. But this is what's coming up. So, reputation, Mike, Alex, in the context of Galactica, what actually do we mean by the term reputation? Just give us a bit of a rundown so everyone actually has a baseline understanding.
Yeah, Mike. Start?
I was just about to say, can I please start? Because my answer is going to sound good until Mike jumps in and answer it. And then my answer is going to sound like a 5-year-old just found a little wishing toy. Thank you, Mike. The way that I would view it, right? And I'm going to build a little bit on what Mike spoke about before with CBDs. And the way that I view is that you can binary sort of looking at it, have two types of reputation. You can have a reputation that is set and controlled and continuously improved upon by a central entity. We have an example like that in real world. It's China and their social scoring. And then you can have the opposite of that, which is essentially a decentralized reputation. And what would then a decentralized reputation be? Okay, so then you would need to enable for each ecosystem or each dApp to create their own version of a reputation. But these would still need to sort of cohere. They would need to follow the same structure, the same logic, but you would be able to change the variables that makes up the reputation weighting. I think this is a lot more positive. This is a lot more hopeful. And this enables you as an individual to be the sovereign owner and to essentially move between the ecosystems and dApps that have the reputation functions that serves you. So just using an example of real world today, say that you are on Instagram and you're loving Instagram, you have built your reputation on Instagram. You might have a couple of 100 followers, you might have hundreds of thousands of followers, but you built a reputation on this platform. And now all of a sudden you're speaking about blue paint. And for whatever reason, Instagram has decided to ban everybody that speaks about blue paint. Now, all of your reputation is gone. You don't have an account anymore. You have a very hard time rebuilding that or getting in contact with some of the people that you might have gained help from in the beginning building your reputation. I want to see a world in which you as the individual, you are the sovereign owner of your data and of your reputation. And you can bring your reputation with you wherever you go. And you can sign in or sign up to the ecosystem or dApp that meets your requirement, that addresses what you seek with reputation. And if you don't like it, you can download your data, upload it again, and then you can move on to the next spot. That puts you, the individual, in a position of power rather than what we have now, these major platforms that everybody needs to use, and they are the ones actually holding the power and the beneficiary of the status quo. That's what we're, in my humble opinion, are trying to change so that you are the sovereign owner of that, so that you are the person you control. But here comes a lot more sophisticated answer. Mike, I pass the mic over to you.
Alex, actually, that was super good. I don't know why were you so humble you started. So, but yeah, anyway, let's firstly address the vocabulary, because it's very important to understand what exactly we mean with reputation, because reputation means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. clearly there is some meaning of reputation in the Web3 context. There is some meaning of reputation just like in your day-to-day life. The reputation that you are used to, the semantics of it. So basically, the first thing I think is for us to understand the vocabulary. And so for that matter, let me real quickly go through a couple of boring definitions, but then I guess for everyone, it's going to be much clearer what we're talking about. And I'm going to stop after each of them so that it's kind of like asking whether it makes sense. Please ask me questions if it doesn't. And so then we're going to be cool. So first of all is the identification. So that's the first very important concept to understand. So identification, as we define it, is basically all the core primitives that collectively and individually as well identify a real world person, embodying all the characteristics such as demographic information, skill sets, consumer preferences, basically all that kind of stuff that Google knows about you. I hope that kind of makes sense. So basically your digital footprint in the Web2 realm. Does this make sense so far?
100%, Mike. Yeah. Everything that Google knows about you, guys. Everything. You know that they're hoovering up all your data. All of that stuff.
Apple as well, by the way, doesn't necessarily only is not confined to Google alone, but yeah. So identification originates off-chain. That's a very important thing. So it's basically all those data points you have generated in the internet, which have originated off-chain. So that's the fuel of Google's business model, and that's how the data gets into the whole Galactica narrative. But we will get to that a little bit later. Now the persistent, I'll start actually with Web3 footprint. I guess it makes a little bit more sense. Basically, Web3 footprint is all the data points you have generated while interacting with the blockchain protocol. So basically, it's all of your payments and repayments of other positions. It's all your trades on Uniswap. It's all of your transfers to other people of whatever tokens you transfer to, all of your degen farming and 10x leverage trades, all that stuff. So basically, that's your Web3 footprint. So importantly, there is, I hope this also makes sense, right? So far.
Yeah. My Supersonic 10 Inu is on the chain and it's part of my reputation. I got you.
Indeed, bro. So then basically there is the persistent identity. So the persistent identity is basically all the data points that have originated off, cross, or on-chain by one real-world human, be it real or synthetic. We're in the AI era in the end, after all. So basically, but for now, let's talk about real people. So it's all the data points you have generated cross-chain, on-chain, or off-chain, and which is presumably on-ramped in one way or the other on one blockchain protocol. So basically, it is your digital shadow on a blockchain. So basically, that's yourself, but on a blockchain. Another word for this could be soul. For example, if we're referring to Vitalik's narratives, that's pretty much one and the same thing. Hopefully, that also makes sense so far.
100%. Yeah, I'm loving it, Mike. I'm loving it. Just go for it, dude.
Okay, cool. So a human on a blockchain is a persistent identity, right? So it doesn't need to be one account. It can be multiple accounts, mixed and remixed within some crazy cryptographic circuits, whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. What matters is that that's the shadow of a real human. So then there are also a couple of things which are kind of important about social graph, but all in all, that's not really that essential. And basically, now if we're talking about persistent identity, you can think about this as just a lot of data points that all belong to the same individual. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the Web3 reputation is some subset of these data points evaluated for a particular purpose. So, for example, if I want to know your credit worthiness, let's say I am not interested in all the data points that define you, the persistent identity, I'm interested in some particular function that I calculate based on the data points you have generated on ramped, etc., such that it would give me a good enough understanding of your credit worthiness. So basically, that's a particular example of reputation. So reputation is all the possible functions, mathematical functions that are calculated atop of the data points you have generated. Basically, it's the persistent identity evaluated for a particular purpose. That's probably the hardest of the definitions, but I hope it makes sense. Does it?
Yes, I'm on board. Alex, what about you?
I'm very much on board. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth between the unmute button. I would love to hear from the community though, because I feel like me and Dave might have heard Mike share this a couple of times, but if there's anybody in the community who has questions, please,
absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll have a look through the comments, see if there's any comments, see if there's any questions in there. For now, though, I've just had CosmosHOSS jump up on the stage, so I'd just love to say a very quick hi, very quick break. During this break, guys, give us a like and a retweet on the space. Hoss, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well. We spoke about an hour ago, and I said, oh, yeah, you guys are doing it an hour earlier. And then my brain just went down the rabbit hole of the Matrix, and I looked at my clock, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm 30 minutes late. So I really apologize.
You live in the Matrix, man.
I know, right? Blame it on the Matrix. I was buying meme coins and doing stupid shit, and then I went down that rabbit hole. Now I'm 30 minutes late. But anyways, nice to be here. Hi, everyone.
Glad to have you up, man. Glad to have you up. And it would be really cool if you find that we are discussing some really cool stuff, but it might be a bit techy. We're not entirely sure. If you want anything clarified for us, or if you have a question, can you just try and bring us back down to earth? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm like the translator of Web3. So.
Yeah, you are, man. Yeah, you are.
Carlos, it's a pleasure to talk to you, bro. Haven't heard you in a while.
It's been a while, man. I haven't heard your voice. I'm glad you're still alive, and you're doing well.
Somehow. Alright, guys. So anyway, please write down in the comments if something is not clear. Gonna be happy to explain that. The only thing I think it would make a little bit more sense to address all of those questions a little bit later, just to not break the flow. But all in all, please write it down. I will be taking it after maybe each section of the document. Because we're currently talking about the document in the end. It's all can be found in the part 1 of the reputation series.
I've linked that in the Discord for you guys if you need to read it. Both parts of the articles are in the Discord, so check them out.
Yeah, so the techie one is the second one, but the first one is more of a conceptual thing. So now the final thing in the puzzle is the Web3 identity stack, which is basically the set of all technological primitives that allow us to work with Web3 reputation. Very simple. So basically, in the context of Galactica, for example, the root reputation contract itself is one of such things, because you need some kind of a way to compute that reputation such that it is basically computed on chain and not brought to you by some oracle. So that could be one such example. Another one could be the guardian nodes, basically, which are responsible for on-ramping your identification on-chain. So you need to have some kind of a way to on-ramp off-chain stuff on-chain. Guardians is one such thing. So basically, that's why we're speaking about Galactica as the Web3, ultimate Web3 identity stack, because these are the technologies we're building in order to enable Web3 reputation in its fullest significance, so to speak. So I hope that made sense. So
that was beautiful, Mike. Yeah. So I just want to do a very quick simplification, guys. So you've got data points everywhere. They make up your reputation. You've got data points in Web 2. So you got your Googles, you got your Apples, as Mike's saying. You got your social medias, and you've got your banking and finance. All of that stuff makes up part of your reputation. And then you've got your Web3 transactions. You've got your SBTs. You've got any kind of on-chain marker that also makes up part of your reputation. Galactica brings those two things together while maintaining your rights and freedoms. Go, Mike, please.
Yeah, and so now basically we're getting to a little bit more complicated section of the paper, so that's why I'm going to be super happy if anyone who has questions can ask them now, because we're going to go to something completely different, and we will be operating with the terms we have just introduced.
So, Hoss, if you have any questions, the only question I've got in the comments so far is who wants to be a DJ for the next intro? Hoss, do you have any questions on reputation so far, buddy?
No, I mean, I like who is going to be the DJ. That's the more important question.
Yeah, it can't be me. I'm terrible at this stuff.
I can provide the track list if you want.
Go for it, Mike. I'd love it.
I got some old friends at Ministry of Sound. I can see if we can get Shane, an OG legend from the Swissborg community and actually the leader of the VC at Swissborg. I can see if he can give us a little jingle for the intro.
Cool. Rave Ministry. That's cool. So, all right, guys. So basically now, let me go to the next thing. So since we have been able to define Web3 reputation, and there is kind of like our conviction that Web3 reputation is probably the ultimate use case for data in Web3 space. So basically the implications of having robust Web3 reputation is the entirely new dimension of use cases that span not only across finance, as we currently have kind of like, the on-chain use cases. They're really like DP maybe, but mostly it's finance. So we're opening a whole new chapter in a sense. It's a new dimension of all kinds of social primitives. And that's not just bullshit that I'm talking about right now and some cool buzzwords, but obviously we're going to get into that as well. But for example, under collateralized loans as one of the very low-hanging fruits is only attainable with some sort of reputation if you want to make it real, like mass market, which of course we would like to. So anyway, you might also know this as DSOC. So DSOC is only possible once you have robust on-chain reputations or Web3 reputation. So now let me try to kind of like define a little bit better what the Web3 reputation is, because so far what I have said is that it's just, some kind of mathematical functions evaluate over some data points. So that's probably not robust enough, not precise enough. So in order to define this beast, probably we should go through its desired properties, and through these properties, we will definitely understand a little bit better of what this thing is all about. So now we're coming to the desired properties of Web3 reputation. So how should it look like, basically? So far, it's quite abstract. So, the first thing, which is very important and the most crucial part maybe, is that it should be private and verifiable. So I will read this thing from here, so hopefully it's not going to sound boring, but it's just, probably I'm not going to be able to formulate it any better at the moment. So nascent properties of public blockchains and the problem space around negative reputation dictate that any holistic stack for Web3 reputation needs to possess the two core properties. A reasonably equipped outside observer cannot infer the reputation of a single user by observing the blockchain or having access to Block Explorer, basically. And the reputation calculation is correct, complete, and verifiable. So these are the two things. I know it was a mouthful. Let me explain what it means. So basically, one thing you would like to have is transparent reputation, where I cannot prove to you that, for example, I have never defaulted on a loan by proving to you, let's say, this statement only about some subset of the accounts I control. Because in this case, reputation will be useless in a sense. So let's say I have 10 accounts under my control. All of them belong to me and form my persistent identity. And let's say you want to give me a loan and you want to evaluate what kind of collateral rate to ask me for. And you want me to prove that I have never defaulted in the past. So if I can prove this statement about only 9 of my accounts, and I can use the 10th one to default at every loan, then basically that, on the previous loan, for example, then the reputation is useless. So I hope that makes sense. So it needs to be verifiable and complete. I should not be able to prove to you something only about a subset of my accounts. Does this make sense? That's the first property.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. The second property, which is also very important, is that even though it's complete, it should remain private. Because, of course, if you can see everything about me from just observing the Block Explorer, for example, because I am limited to only one account, then you can infer a lot of information about me, even if we put as much zero-knowledge cryptography on top as we want. Still, by observing the blockchain for long enough and knowing all the accounts that belong to me, you will be able to say a lot about me. And for example, the whole problem of negative reputation and the right to be forgotten, for example, if you have made a mistake in the past, it kind of makes sense, for the society to be able to forgive you, so to speak, and for you to remain private on that. That's, for example, the basis of the privacy laws in Europe, for example, and in the US as well. So basically, that's the second property. So you need to remain private while at the same time not be able to prove stuff which only uses some subset of the accounts that you control. So the proofs have to be about the persistent identity as a whole, not about a part of it, because, I guess it comes without saying. Solving this particular, and I guess, there is no second opinion about this, because both of these properties are clearly required, because absence of one of them is a kind of like Chinese type of credit rating dystopia, maybe, if you can say so at least. And the absence of the other one renders the whole concept of reputation useless, right? So achieving both of these properties requires extremely complex cryptography. And I will tell you now, even though this is coming in the third article about reputation, that the only way to achieve it is to basically mix zero-knowledge proofs and zero-knowledge cryptography with fully homomorphic encryption, also known as FHE, which is making some hype lately. So that's a brand new cool cryptography. And basically, without these two things together, these two properties are very difficult to achieve. Hope that makes sense. So I know it was a mouthful. I really apologize. Maybe Alex, you can go and give a little bit of a more user-friendly narrative here. But well, I hope I did what I could here.
2 seconds, Alex. Just before you do, we've managed to pin the Gateway X to the top of the space. So if you would like to just check out Galactica, that's your best way in. Just check on Gateway X. You'll get a free SBT for doing it. Alex, take it away, please.
Thank you, Dave. First of all, I'm just going to say, Mike, I love literally listening to you explain these things. It's borderline poetry to me. I hope more people in the community feel like I just did. Simplifying it. So what I would say is, right, the way I would think about it is you are the source to any derivative data created, right? And currently, the world that we know of exists in a bunch of data silos. So you will have a little bit of Twitter data or X data over here. You will have a little bit of on-chain data over here. Very few people have access to SEX data or centralized exchange data. So you have sort of these silos of data. And they're decently valuable on their own, but they're even more so valued together, right? So when you can correlate data sets, when you can actually understand real, true behavior, and you need multiple data points to do that, then that becomes really, really valuable. If you only look at a subset of the data and you hide some of it, that's the equivalent of, if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, you probably heard that some big businesses park all of their toxic debt into one company, and then you bankrupt that company. This is essentially the Web3 version is what Mike is explaining to you all. It's that, like, imagine that you would do that with your wallets. Say that you have 10 wallets, you put all of your shitty behavior, your toxic debt, your bad, your missed payments, everything that you've done bad, you do from one wallet, and then you keep 9 of them super clean and sparkly. That would be the equivalent of what Mike is speaking about. And then I think, once again, we're touching upon the need for privacy, not only because we want to, but because we need it systemically to make this work. And if I could actually add one more thing to it, without going into the use cases that this enable, which there are many of, I think it's really important to highlight that just at the very pure, fundamental, nearly the first principles of it, you are the source from which all of this data is created, right? That data is tremendously valuable. So you might have seen that we've spent $4.5 billion as the crypto space on airdrops in 2023. You might not have seen that I think Meta made roughly $291 billion in profit on your data, because your data is the product that is making them money. So that's 60x what we spent on airdrops. So if you think that the crypto space did a lot of airdrops in 2023, imagine multiplying that by 60, and you're still only accounting for one of these tech giants and how much they're making on the data that you produce for them. And that data is still not as valuable as the data sets that you can create on Galactica. Because what you can do with Galactica is that you can upload your Twitter data, your trading data from, say, Swissborg or a centralized exchange. You can upload multiple of these data points, which gives the real value, which is what Mike also highlighted a bit, that if me as, now I'm just going to make up another competitor, but say that I am Binance, I would be very interested to target the top 10% of traders on Swissborg. I don't need to know where you live. I don't need to know how much money you make. I don't need to know all of these other things about you. If I want to target you, I might want to target you because of X behavior, so a subset of the data. And I think that's also important to highlight. You are the source to all data derivatives created. That data is valuable. It's even more valuable when it can be, when you can centralize it. Like when you are the point that you can combine your Twitter data with your trading data, with your on-chain data, with your SEX data or centralized exchange data, then that becomes really, really valuable. I don't know if
it's absolutely huge. You're making massive sense, Alex. You're making massive sense. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm just going to try and clear through everything, just try and summarize a little bit. So guys, your data, big companies like Google, like Apple, like Facebook, all of these massive companies, they pay billions for data, for your data, which they are then guessing with, essentially. They are just making educated guesses with it. That data becomes infinitely more valuable when you voluntarily provide it to them for a fee, for which you then gain the value from, and they gain 10x the value from, because the data is actually valid. It just makes a lot of sense for you to have the control in this case.
That was beautiful, Dave. Thank you so much. You said it in one sentence what I could not say in 30. That was perfect.
That's why I'm here, bro.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I mean, how could Mark Zuckerberg afford that $100 million compound in Hawaii? You know what I mean?
Oh,
that private
man, I saw that. That was an insane compound. They've got like underground bunkers and everything, right?
Yeah, for the end of the world and all that. He's good to go. As long as he's there when the end of the world, if it happens. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, it's kind of like funny if you think about it. The dude's made so much money off of stealing our data and having zero privacy, right? And then he does that, and he wants this like real private $100 million like off the grid type of place, you know? It's crazy. Anyway, good.
I need to jump in on this because I love where this discussion is going, and I think
the end of the world. Sorry, what?
Oh yeah. No, not that part of it, but the other part of it. I think it's so key to highlight that this is not only the tech, like we're not only speaking about the tech giants that exist today. There's a great book out there called the Quantum CMO. If anybody's interested in like what could the future of marketing and essentially the data marketplace look like, great book to get an insight into like how the future could look like. And I just want to share to everybody that to which this might not be obvious yet, is a lot of the major producers of either services or product are tweaking their business model to be data. If you're looking at any device, like if you're wearing a smartwatch, if you're wearing a Whoop bracelet, if you're using a smart scale, they're massively subsidizing their own product when they sell it to retail. They're most likely even making a loss selling the hardware to you, because that's not the business. The business is taking your weight measurement. The business is taking your heart rate. The business is taking all of these data and selling it to the highest bidder. And there is very high bidders, especially when it comes to biodata, because that can affect your insurance, that can affect your health score, that can affect the life insurance. Like so many other things rely, like our economy pretty much works on data. It's the new labor. And businesses are not slow to adapt to this. Businesses, multi-billion-dollar businesses, are pivoting their business model to get their products out to you at a loss so that they can harvest you for data. I don't know if there's a more clear, like, we are in the matrix. This is literally, we're not that many steps away from just lay in bed and we will hook you in. Because even sleep data has become some of the most valuable data, because people that do not sleep well are very easy to target, and you push on the pain point. Are you not getting enough sleep? Are you not? Here's how you can solve that, and then you sell 10. Yeah, sorry, Mike. I don't want to put you out there, but like, just to make this clear, we're not only speaking about the big tech giants of today. We're also speaking about the 100 emerging tech giants that are selling products, hardware at a loss to get them out to you, so that you become the product by harvesting your data.
So we're literally not very far away, guys, from being at the point where, you know, a loan provider will be giving you a higher rate due to the fact you don't get enough sleep. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of dystopia that where we're heading. So sorry, Alex, please continue.
Yeah. No, but you're spot on, because less sleep, you're less productive. And if you add a bit of cool algos to that, you can do quite a lot, all right? So less sleep, less productive, more stress means you're going to have more cardiovascular diseases. That's what more stress does to you. Okay, perfect. If you have higher risk for heart rate, now we need to increase your health premium. Now you need to pay a bit more because now you're on a risk class. okay, if we can see that your glucose level spikes, oh, this is beautiful, because now we have somebody that just needs a little bit more sugar to become a full-on, what is the, I don't know the English word for the...
Diabetic?
Yeah. And if you're diabetic, that medicine costs nothing. We sell it for 100 times the markup cost, right? So you can quickly see how just a couple of these data points really enable me to start playing around with how much value I can get from those data points, selling it to the right person.
And this is exactly why you need ownership of your data on a free platform, a decentralized platform in which you are in addition private.
Yeah, because sadly but truthfully, human nature is, and there's some very sad but real experiments. We do not feel and recognize pain until it's glaringly obvious. A great experiment is if you put a frog into a boiling kettle, it will jump straight out. Put the frog into the kettle and start to boil it, and it will sit there until it becomes a boiled frog. And I'm very worried that we're on the same way when it comes to data. I grew up with using Facebook because everybody was on Facebook. It was fun, and we did not even have the conversations. What is my data worth? How can it be used? Those conversations have emerged later. I'm worried that we as a society wake up one day and go, whoa, is this how my data is being used? And is this the value of it when it might be too late?
You'll probably not wake up at all, bro. not in a sense of physical, but in a sense of matrix, Yeah. I guess people in the matrix don't realize they're in the matrix.
I
wake up in simulation 2 rather than simulation 1.
Yes.
Oh, that's too many simulations, boys. Too many simulations. Okay. Everyone, please, if you can give us a like and a retweet, if you find you are getting value from this space, if you believe in the mission that we believe in, making sure that humanity has a safe and productive infrastructure layer, a digital infrastructure layer where you can remain this way and retain your freedoms and rights, then please jump up to the top of the space, give a click on Gateway X, just get yourself onboarded, see if you can get your free SBT and jump on Discord, give us a like and a retweet on this space. I just want to jump over to one last question, guys, because this will probably be like a 10, 15-minute question. So what are the actual practical use cases of reputation on chain? Like the ones that maybe will be most apparent once it becomes available. Mike, Alex, whoever wants to go first, please.
I can start with a super simple one that I think that a lot of the people in this space will be happy about. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I will just go for
So that was awkward.
I think me and Mike had our first meeting nearly 12 hours ago, so I apologize if my brain is not where it's supposed to be. Reputation augmented airdrops, or what we would like to call Souldrops, is one, I think, very low-hanging use case. Imagine, CosmosHOSS, you said that you were buying some meme coins. Are you also doing some airdrop farming or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely do a little bit of all that.
Okay.
Just like having fun. I'm a total degenerate.
Yeah, no, but of course, having fun. I support it. No, but so here's a great example. As a person that have organized airdrop myself, guess who we're targeting? The one person pretending to be 10 people, or CosmosHOSS? Who would be our ideal user, right? It would be CosmosHOSS, because he's like an amazing community member to get into your team, if I can call it that. Like it's amazing addition to the project if we can get CosmosHOSS in. Contrary to if I have one dude with 10 phones somewhere on an island doing everything they can to farm the airdrop to the max, if my airdrop criteria are have a wallet and stake $10 worth of X token or transact X amount of value, then it's very easy for both these accounts to do it, and I would be none the wiser. They would receive a similar airdrop, right? But what I really wanted to do was to encourage people like CosmosHOSS. How augmented reputation helps you to do that is by all of a sudden, without giving me the identity of CosmosHOSS, I see that, wow, out of the last 4 meme coins that he bought, he's still active on these 3 Twitter communities. He's still active on the Discord. Not only that, the content that he's producing for them or on this topic is generating engagement, is generating new people and new eyes for the project, then I want to reward CosmosHOSS with 10 times the value that I would an average user in the airdrop. Because now I have more data points. I have a greater understanding of the likelihood CosmosHOSS has of staying, because I can see his previous data. I can see how he has actually sticked around for 3 out of the 4 previous projects that has given him value. So that is just one super low-hanging fruit that we might or might not be working on to have it rolled out in the next couple of... And then I went...
Shush, Alex. You tease. So, Mike, before he starts going on more, what about yourself, man? The use cases?
Yeah, well, I mean, having composable social graph in Web3, which also comprises a lot of off-chain data points, is pretty much a recipe to reversing the business model of, big tech, pretty much. So instead of the dealer here being the big tech, sitting in the middle and pretty much monetizing your data, which, by the way, this business model has given the rise to the most profitable enterprises of human history. Instead of you playing against the dealer, in a sense, or dealer depriving you of any money, pretty much, we could enable privacy-preserving direct targeting in attention economy. So that, for example, a particular business, let's say it is a restaurant in Dubai, for example, why not? And let's say it's an extremely expensive restaurant with some, Michelin stars and things like this. And they would like to have access to crypto high rollers, for example, who can prove to them that they are trading XYZ volume on Binance and they own X1, Y1, Z1, NFTs, etc., and that they live in Dubai, because otherwise it would be useless to target them, right? And if they can prove these theses about themselves, mind you, without revealing any other information, then I, the restaurant, would be happy to give them a $1,000 invitation dinner or whatnot. So basically, this attention economy that today is owned by and monetized, obviously, by the big tech, and is fed down your throat without your consent, in a sense, whenever you're surfing the internet. So that data economy can be reversed, and the money can be given back to the people who own the most valuable asset of the 21st century, which is, of course, your data. So that could be one of the interesting use cases. And having these be, it is not really possible to have such model unless it exists on a blockchain. So it's very essential for the blockchain to be the infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure for this. So that could be one thing. Another very, very interesting thing is, for example, to enable people to get access to financial services and institutions that they are used or that they can access in their home country, but abroad. Because, many people on this podcast, I guess, must be digital nomads. And you all perfectly know that even within, let's say, European Union, it is quite difficult for you, if you are from one country, to receive the full extent of financial services in the other country. And of course, like all kinds of Revoluts, etc., they are mostly servicing your transactional needs. They don't really service your consumer credit needs, or they and insurance needs, etc., all those other things that you can easily get in your home country is very difficult to get elsewhere. And so, and obviously also the liquidity is extremely fragmented because of this. So with the infrastructure, of augmenting DeFi as we have it today with Reputation, what you can basically have is a global financial marketplace for all kinds of services with permissionless access to all that stuff. And the idea how it can be permissionless is extremely easy. Your reputation is a very valuable asset. And let's say in case if you take a loan, I don't need to know where you live. I don't need to go with collecting agencies after you in case if you, say, fail to repay this loan, simply because I can estimate that the value of the reputation you're going to screw up in case if you decide to steal that money, let's say, will far outweigh the amount of money you will get. And that's why, like, in the long run, it does not make economic sense for people to do that. And that can give rise to basically financial super apps, which are currently impossible either in TradFi or in DeFi. So that could be another very interesting case. And obviously all kinds of under-collateralized loans, forward enterprise financing, all that stuff can be attainable. So much cooler gamification could be another stuff. So in case if a reputation is composable, thus I can access some particular reputation points, let's say, and things that comprise those points from another app, not from the app in which you produce those points, then basically I can make much cooler gamification, and there could be much cooler network dynamics, which today are just locked in a sense because they're not composable, because they are generated in a given app rather than on a blockchain, right? So that could be another very interesting thing that will give rise to completely like much more sophisticated, much cooler engagement dynamics in the space. So I can really go on, but probably the coolest thing, which I'm gonna just say, and I'm gonna leave it at that, and you guys can try to think what that could mean. But basically, in the same way how meme coins can be attention signaling mechanisms, if you think, for example, about Trump meme coin that reacts to the actual polling numbers of Trump, and that's kind of like attention signaling in a sense, and it's super liquid. Like you can think about attention order books. So basically moving the actual asset or substituting the actual asset from its monetary equivalent to that of social rating in a sense. I will leave it at that. It's purposefully formulated so that it's difficult to decipher, but that could be one of the most exciting use cases for reputation. And all in all, what I want to say with this, I guess, is that the amount of use cases that DSOC with a functional reputation uncovers is just something we cannot think of, even just like we couldn't think about what DeFi is back in the days when Bitcoin was created. And that's super exciting to be contributing to this. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it's absolutely freaking incredible, Mike, is what it is. And like you can't imagine the stuff that could come, but you can imagine the scope of it. Like you see society at large as it is. You know, we are confined to nation states in these little bubbles. Now, the kind of technologies and the kind of outcomes that Galactica could provide are, within the realm of a global super app. So you see, for example, you see X. We use this app, right? It's an app with a goal of becoming an everything app, as per the founder, Elon. So right now it's a social app. They want to bring in finance as well. They want to go that route. However, the centralized point of failure there is one man and his ideals and his goals in life. Now you can very easily imagine if Elon, for example, God forbid, he dropped dead, he disappeared, his ideals changed, something happened to Elon, then the company behind X would suddenly become basically controlled by a committee once again, and committees generally tend towards the financial, and the amount of freedom on X would trend downwards. That's just how these things go. Like we are beholden to a central point of failure in Elon Musk on X. So we have our freedoms here. We have our ability to speak freely. We have spaces. We have all this wonderful ideals here, but they are at risk from centralization. We have the same thing with China and Weibo. Like Weibo is created an everything app. It's social. It's financial. It's everything all in one. Your entire life in the digital space in one app. However, if you are in China, you are well aware that every single thing on that app is either monitored or controlled by the government, and they can literally turn off your digital life. It's incredibly dystopian, but it's the straight truth. If you go down too far in whatever social scoring system they use, they can turn off your digital life, and they can also identify everything that you've done in the physical realm. They can socially map you essentially, and turn you off. Now, this is why we need Galactica, or we need the ability to be social on a blockchain which has all these properties that we currently use for finance, like the immutability, the privacy, the freedoms that are afforded by blockchain. We need to give those to people, and that is why we are bringing people on chain with Galactica. I'm sorry, I think, was it Mike or Alex? One of you guys were about to speak, I swear.
I was. I can't after that. That was like a mic drop. I have nothing more to say. Just thank you to everybody.
Okay.
And Dave, Citizen, you're a legend. Mike, sorry, no, I'm not going to do the outro. Dave, Michael, sorry.
It's cool, man. It's cool. Okay, there's just been a couple of questions. Well, a couple of questions. They've just been like not really relative to the reputation conversation, but I just want to very quickly go through them. So in the comments from Arakeen, we have can't wait for the testnet to come back. When? Now. Okay, it is back up. We are alive. We are alive. I promise. We have all the functionality of testnet up and running. You can go on there. You can do your KYC. You can test our ZK KYC systems. You can use the Gateway X in order to gain your free SBT. That may well have some uses later. I'm not sure. You make up your own decisions on that. It could. So just go and claim your SBT and use the testnet. Give us some feedback. There will be an upcoming Voyager Arc campaign for this new testnet. So just be prepared for that. Check out the article. There are more details there on what the requirements may well be. But just go and check out the article for the full details.
Just real quick here, let me just jump in and make a little clarification, I guess. Look, guys, so the testnet was down. That's true, and the testnet will be down, I guess, not once, not twice, but many times, because the testnet currently is the place where we feel like it is most safe to make mistakes, and so we are pushing it to the limit so that the mainnet is flawless. So that's why whenever it's down, don't be afraid. That's not bad tech, but it's the tech where we're not afraid to break things, and that we're doing it intentionally, pretty much so that the experience when the mainnet releases is as flawless as it gets. So that's just, very important framework to think about this, I guess.
100%, guys. Break our blockchain. Do it. Go on, try it. I dare you. Perfect, Mike. Thank you.
Only build the best product. I mean, that's the only way you build the best race car. Mechanic builds it, tells the driver, legit, go out and break it. And if they can't, then it's ready to go. If he can, then it's not ready,
Absolutely, Hoss, 100%. And like Mike and Alex were saying earlier, we're trying to bring like human like analogs of humans and analogs of human society on chain. It's not a trivial thing. There's a lot of tech involved here. There will be breakages, but we are very thankful for our community, our sentinels, our validators, especially, who have helped us hugely throughout this whole process. So actually, I can see a couple of you guys in the chat. So thank you very much, guys. You've been absolutely amazing in getting us back up and running so quickly compared to just how much stuff is going on right now. So thank you very much, everyone. We got another question. Are there already any private entities interested in the project? I'm assuming they mean investment entities. We've already got an alpha coming up with Swissborg. I doubt there's much other alpha we want to give out today, right, Mike? Alex? No, don't think so.
We can see. Can you guys hear me? Because okay, perfect. Because my Twitter thing says I'm still muted. On the question if there's private entities interested in Galactica, there's no need to be around the bush. Yes, there is. But we want to make sure that we balance so that the community, like bringing in a shit ton of VCs before we bring in communities, what a lot of other projects would probably do. It's the logical thing to do. It's how you do in this business. But we're trying to do something different, and we want to make sure that we get the community involved with it. But you can already now head over to Swissborg and the Alpha page, and then share if you're interested in being a part owner of Galactica. Then express that interest so that we know how big we should make that pool. What was the second question, Dave? Or was there? What should we give away any more Alpha? What we can say is. There's a lot of interested parties in Galactica, and keep an eye on our socials because we might start announcing them gradually in the next coming days or so.
Yeah, it might even be soon. Who knows? You never know these things. Okay, guys, perfect. Last one. Hello, will the ZK KYC be user-friendly enough to enable everyday users to use it in a simple manner? I'm trying to read the question in a best broken English version. So I guess normal people who are maybe not already in crypto, will it be simple enough for them, I guess, is the question.
Well, I guess the answer here is very simple. If passing a KYC on some centralized thing is easy enough for you, then this will be no harder. Also, it's kind of cool that you gotta do it only once, while in the obviously in many centralized places in this world, you gotta do it once per platform. Galactica is kind of cool in the respect that obviously it is reusable as it is composable. So that's one of the cool stuff. So probably it's gonna be a little bit even more user friendly. But yeah, for that, I guess, Dave, you have made a lot of cool videos as to how that works, right? With Swissborg, for example. So I guess
Yes, sir.
The inquiring individual to our
That's another thing you can do, guys. You can jump onto our YouTube channel. We have a bunch of videos. We have more videos than any other L1 I can think of right now. So just check them out. There are playlists. If you're looking for explainers, there's a playlist for explainers. There's a playlist for Into the Cipher State, what you're listening to now. This beautiful podcast. And there's also ones for shorts. So just check all out the information that you can. Anything that's relevant to you, you can pick it out from that bunch. Okay, everyone. Well, that was beautiful, and that was a very information-packed podcast. I absolutely adored it. First things first, Hoss, my friend, do you have any final questions for us before we wrap this thing up?
No, man, I've been jamming out with you guys for a long time, and it seems like an eternity in this space, and I'm excited for what you're building. I have been since, like, I don't even know when the very first time out was when I found out what you guys were trying to do, because like my background's in accounting and finance, and one of the issues I've always had with this space wasn't necessarily on the tech side of it, but it was more on the privacy side, the scalable side of like getting institutions, big money, businesses, and things of that nature in here, because it's really kind of shitty that there's like no privacy. There is, but there isn't in this space, and you have to like do so many things. And then also, yeah, like we're talking about the airdrop mechanisms, like that'll be solidified better with more tooling, because granted, the developers are building, they're doing what they're doing, but a lot of times they're just lazy, right? Like when it comes to airdrops, they're like, it's just a snapshot, and then that's it. And then there's so many ways for people to game it, right? Like, I'm not going to be ungrateful for airdrops, but if I was one of these people that wanted to be kind of like a full-blown degenerate and create 1,000 wallets and all these NFTs that I have, just like put one in each of them, then I would have definitely got way more money than just like kind of stacking NFTs in the same wallet. And I just think it creates a better environment and more conducive and scalable. And yeah, anyways, that's all.
Beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Hoss, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as a co-host for so long as well, guys. You absolutely should follow CosmosHOSS and his account. He is a champion in the Cosmos ecosystem. And we are going to be doing some massive stuff within Cosmos itself, as well as just as a unique entity that we are as Galactica Network. So he's just an absolute champion at both spaces, in Galactica and in the Cosmos space as a whole. So give that man a follow. In fact, give everyone on the stage a follow. I should say, obviously, we have Mike Sarvodaya up here, who is our co-founder, absolute legend. The man is a conceptual genius when it comes to getting the humanity, their freedoms and their rights back on chain. It's just an absolute pleasure and a beautiful thing seeing all the papers and all the content that's come out from him. We've also got Alex, who is originally from Swissborg, now a whole 100% Galactican. So thank you very much, Alex, as well. Okay, so in the end, guys, Galactica is here to solve for genuine problems. So the problem with the real world is that you rarely ever have transparency in the systems you use, and you're at the mercy of third parties when it comes to asset and data ownership. In short, you just don't have any control whatsoever. In the real world, you just don't have any control. And the problem with Web3 right now is that you have no real people. You have no trust. You have no Sybil resistance. The only trust that you have is smart contracts, and they are ridiculously limited, as you're aware. They're limited to very simplified financial use cases. This is why we need reputation. We can get this composability for real humans, for real people. So we're here to solve both those issues, bring society on-chain with its freedoms and rights intact, and form this new on-chain nation that we are calling the Cipher State. So it's a beautiful thing. We are here for it. We are glad you are here for it, most of all. So we thank you very much for being here. If you can give us a like and a retweet on the way out, that would be absolutely amazing. The last things, if we can just get a final word from Mike first, perhaps, would absolutely love to hear it.
Yeah, guys, I mean, thank you for being with us all this time. To all the newcomers, happy that you are with us eventually, ultimately, and for everybody who has been with us since the beginning. Thank you, guys. That's really cool. It's really a pleasure to work for such a cool community as you are. And the other thing I would just wanted to give some heads up to decentralized.co. I guess whoever doesn't know this community should definitely join. It's in Telegram, for example. And that's some of the toppest content in the crypto space, probably the best. And yeah, well, we have gotten quite some inspiration or some reference from some of the articles they have been publishing. So that's also one thing I want to say. So, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for sticking around.
Thank you for coming, Mike. Seriously, you've provided a lot of value today to a lot of people. Alex, yourself, man, any final words?
Just if you care about freedom, if you care about the future of humanity, then now is the time to start taking actions, because we're going to need all the help we can get to turn this status quo around, and it's sorely needed. So thank you for joining, and if you're passionate about freedom and the future of humanity, please participate in our Discord, share your opinion, share what you think about what we're doing, how you think we should improve, how you think that we are awesome, or how you think we suck. We want to hear all of it. Feedback is a very good commodity. It's sadly undervalued in today's market, but we very much value it. So be free, send it to us. Thank you so much.
Gorgeous, Alex. Gorgeous. Be critical thinkers. Critical thinking is the skill. It really is. Please foster it, adopt it, and show us what you can show it. Just try and break our blockchain on the testnet. That's the perfect way of doing that. Just try and break it. Go on. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for Hoss. Thank you for coming up, man. If you have a final word you want to say, Hoss, please. I don't want to leave without you.
Yeah, no, I always just like to thank everyone that tunes into the recordings, or it's getting active. And, I always encourage everyone to get involved in this space one way or another. You don't have to be a coder. I think everyone has a skill set that can offer some sort of benefit to crypto as a whole. And yeah, man, just keep doing your thing, and just have a good time. Cheers, everyone. I appreciate it. That's all I got to say.
Beautiful, Hoss. Thanks, man. We are back again on Into the Cypher State. This is a weekly podcast. You can find us again at 8 o'clock UTC next Wednesday, and every Wednesday for the foreseeable future. So please drop by the next time, and thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Into the Cypher State. See you soon, everyone.